Hello Mets fans, welcome back to the channel and a happy New Year's Eve to you all. I would assume that's the time that I am posting this by. If it is New Year's Day, then I apologize. Something got backed up because something breaking happened with the Mets, but hopefully this is out on New Year's Eve, right? And also shout out to each and every one of you guys that have been supporting me on the channel. I simply cannot thank you all fellow Mets fans enough. It has meant the world to me truly. And also shout out to everyone that has been in the live streams. The first two live streams we did on the channel have been a tremendous success, and I cannot wait to do future live streams talking to all you lovely Mets fans. So seriously, thank you all again. But as you guys can tell by the title, we are breaking down, yes, the New York Mets and the trade options for the 2020 MLB offseason. As we know, we've touched on so many different trade options for the Mets in the 2020 MLB offseason, but this time we are talking about a player that's seen a lot of discussion in the rumor mill as of late, that being in Kris Bryant, the third baseman for the Chicago Cubs. So today we will be breaking down everything there is to know about Kris Bryant and his possible connection to the New York Mets, and if he could very well find himself landing in Queens sooner rather than later, maybe more so than say some other trade options as a possible blockbuster for the Mets in the near future. So I'll be breaking down a summary on Kris Bryant and his overall game, everything there is to know about him, his possible connection, if any, with the New York Mets, and also what a type of deal we could possibly see in acquiring Kris Bryant and everything in between. As always, guys, make sure you stay all the way until the end of the video, find out all the deets and all my thoughts on Kris Bryant possibly landing in Queens. If you end up enjoying this kind of Mets content and want to see more great Mets content like this going forward, please make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and most importantly, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I cannot wait to talk to all you lovely Mets fans. But without further ado, guys, let's get right into this video. Here we have 28-year-old Chicago Cubs third baseman and Kris Bryant. At a towering 6'5", 230 pounds, originally drafted by the Cubs in the first round back in 2013, Bryant has been one of the better hitters in all of baseball for the past 5+ years, and has also been a strong third baseman when it comes to his glove. And in 2020, however, in the shortened season, only playing 34 games due to injury and 131 at-bats, had 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, a batting average of a career low 206, a 293 on-base percentage, a 351 slugging, and a 644 OPS. But in the 2019 season is really where he showed out and has been for numerous times in his career already. But in 147 games played and 543 at-bats, he had 31 home runs, 77 RBIs, a 282 batting average, a 382 on-base percentage, a 521 slugging, and a 903 OPS. And in 740 career games played with the Cubs and 2,774 at-bats, Bryant has racked up 142 home runs, 414 RBIs, a 280 batting average, a 380 on-base percentage, a 508 slugging, and an 889 OPS. Bryant first bursted on the scene tremendously for the Chicago Cubs, becoming the 2015 NL Rookie of the Year, and in 2016 having a crucial part to the Cubs winning the World Series for the first time in literally forever, being the NL MVP in 2016 as well, and also being a 3-time NL All-Star in the 2015, 2016, and 2019 seasons. Alright guys, so just to further expand on Bryant some more, if you look at his numbers through 6 MLB seasons, including the shortened 2020 season, which he only played a handful of games as we know due to injury, and really I would not put much stock at all in that season. He only played 34 games. It's only literally a quarter of a normal 162 game season, not even, so take that into account. But in 4 of his 6 seasons in the MLB since arriving in 2015, he has had at least 26 home runs or more and 70 plus RBIs. So the numbers have been there. He's been awfully consistent. Just in 2019, he was 8th in all of the NL in regards to runs, and he has been, I believe back in 2016, he was 1st in all of the NL in regards to runs. So I know it was a couple years ago now, but in 2019, he still put up stellar numbers and is a guy that really has plenty of potential if you ask me. And when you look at his current situation with the Cubs, it's pretty telling. When you look at what the Cubs have been doing now between Theo Epstein stepping down, and I think we all have a good grasp as to why exactly he did that, outside of him saying that he just wants to take time away from baseball. If you look at what is happening currently with Kyle Schwarber being non-tendered, one of the crucial parts to their run back in 2016, and after that as well, even though they haven't hit the World Series since 2016, but regardless, they have had a lot of key guys out of the organization now and really not caring too much, it would seem. And with Yu Darvish now just being dealt, if you ask me, that's pretty telling of a team that is not trying to compete. I don't think there's any way to put it. when you look at the NL Central as it is, outside of the St. Louis Cardinals, all those teams for the most part have been downgrading this offseason, offloading contracts that have a couple more years on it, or they're pending guys that are going to be a UFA in a year's time that they know that they can't afford, and they're really setting themselves up, the Cubs at least, in a direction where they're going to be fairly competitive because they know the NL Central for the most part is not upgraded outside of the Cardinals staying consistent. They still have a chance at going for the division, but with the direction that they're going in, it is quite telling that they are going more so in a retool / rebuild. And I don't think there's any other way to look at this currently for the Cubs, between not going for Schwarber, getting rid of Darvish, and might I add, in that Darvish deal, I believe that was a 7-player deal. They also got rid of their younger catcher as well, who was Darvish's catcher. So take that into account. And they got some strong prospects, but the Padres have kept the bulk of their top 10 prospects through all their trades over the past couple days between Snell and Darvish. They still have a very strong farm system. And when you look at the type of deal for Darvish, they probably could have gone more than what they did, if you ask me. And for a guy of Darvish's caliber, who, yes, I know was a short season, but was a NL Cy Young runner-up, who came in second, even ahead of Jacob deGrom, which is insane. Again, it's pretty telling of the direction the Cubs are going in, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these games float out there again in trade rumors. And Kris Bryant has not been a surprise in regards to trade rumors at all. The Mets have been connected with Bryant for really over the past year plus now, and wanting to get that next third baseman after David Wright, because they really haven't had it, as we know. And I've touched on plenty of other guys here on the channel that could help out in the infield, both in trade and free agency market, and I'll probably touch on them further. But Bryant is an interesting story here because he is another guy who is a rental, who's going to be a free agent after this upcoming 2021 season. He's making around $18.6 million left on his contract, and he's a UFA, along with that flooded UFA market a year from now in the next year's winter meetings. That's going to include Francisco Lindor, assuming that he doesn't extend with either Cleveland or any other team, and he's definitely not going to be extending with Cleveland. As we know, Nolan Arenado can opt out of his contract, even though I kind of doubt he will. Even with the Rockies, I feel he'll stay just because of how much money he's making. And then you look at Trevor Story. If he's not extended in time, he will be a UFA as well. And then you have others, Javi Baez, another one from the Cubs. It's flooded. So Kris Bryant is going to be looking for a lot of money. He very well could be looking for upwards of his buddy and Kris Bryant, both of them being from Las Vegas, but I don't think that he's going to be making not Kris Bryant, Bryce Harper, I mean. I don't think that he's going to be making the same type of money that Harper was making with that Phillies contract. At least he's not deserving of it, because Harper isn't deserving of that $330+ million contract. That's ridiculous. And the Mets are smart. They're not going to trade for a guy, a Bryant, for instance, without knowing that, one, that an extension is definitely going to be in place, but two, knowing that is a deal that they are worth handling. Because Bryant, as we know, has put up some great numbers, but he still only had his career high season back when he first came in his second year in the league on that World Series run, I believe, is in 2016, where he had 39 homers and over 100 RBIs. He has not replicated those same exact numbers since then. Has he been a consistent hitter still? Yes, he definitely has. Would I put stock into his short 2020 season? No, I wouldn't. I really would not. But at the age of 28 now, in the prime of his career, I think a change of scenery is definitely inevitable with him. So now it's just a matter of what the Mets could get him for, and would it make sense for them. I do believe it would make sense for the Mets to really bring in that bona fide third baseman that would automatically make the Mets a better team. He has a great glove, as we know, on that third base. As a towering 6'5", he really has a strong reach there on third base. He has a strong bat, as we know, has been a consistent hitter. So what kind of deal could the Mets get for a guy like Kris Bryant, should it actually happen, let's just say? Well, JD Davis would probably be part of that deal. He would probably be filling in third base right away for the Cubs and would do well in Wrigley, I would imagine. And then you would probably have Brandon Nimmo would be tossed in there. I know that the Cubs have been interested in a center fielder or just outfielder in general for a guy like Brandon Nimmo, who can constantly get on base. Because when you look at the Cubs right now, they're struggling to have younger guys in the lineup, especially that have strong on-base percentage. Nimmo, we all know he's an on-base machine. Even if he's batting between 230 and 240, he's still getting on base because his eye is ridiculous. It's either that or he gets hit because he's just that good, and he sprints to first base like a G. And I love Brandon Nimmo and I love JD Davis. I don't want to see these guys dealt, but the reality is that the Mets do any significant trade this offseason, you're probably looking at those guys to be right atop the list being dealt, knowing that they're susceptible, because they would either be filled in right away from the acquisition in a trade, or because of what the Mets are going to be doing in free agency with a guy like George Springer, especially would make a guy of Nimmo's caliber awfully susceptible to being dealt. So you're looking at those two guys possibly, and maybe you're looking at a prospect, but it'll probably be out of the Mets top 10 prospects, because one, I don't see them dealing anything more significant than that, because they want to build the farm, as Steve Cohen, Alderson, all of them have stated. But they could probably get a deal done for Bryant, who's on a pending contract that's going to be coming up, knowing that they can probably extend him. But it's all the matter of, do they want to go down that route? We have seen them shown interest in the past. The question is, are they showing interest currently? And is that a more ideal move for them than, say, going for Lindor or Arenado? Are those too expensive for the Mets versus a guy like Bryant? That is the biggest what if question, and we're not going to find out right away, but hopefully soon, because the Mets have been keeping tabs and showing interest on all these names out there, not just in free agency, but on the trade market as well. And really over the next month and a half, I would say we're going to find out a lot about the Mets between these signings and potential trades. What is actually going to come into fruition, and what is going to make most sense for the Mets and their direction, not just for short-term, but long-term success. But that's going to conclude this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How would you feel about Kris Bryant possibly landing in Queens on a blockbuster deal? Would you prefer him, say, over Lindor or Arenado per se? Do you think that Kris Bryant is the third best option for the Mets in a blockbuster deal? Are you not in favor of Bryant? Let me know all your thoughts and everything in between, because I want to have these discussions with all you fellow Mets fans and help us get to 1,000 subscribers. It would really mean a lot, guys. But seriously, thank you all again for the continued support, and have a very happy and safe New Year's if I do in fact post this by time it is New Year's Eve. So thank you all again, guys. It means a ton. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again real soon.